Karoline Leavitt. The left pretends to be a champion of women until they find one who is a conservative. Once that happens, they love nothing more than tearing down women with the most petty and vacuous of insults.
Whoopi Goldberg has once again found herself at the heart of controversy following her recent comments on wokeness. But this time, she faced someone who wasn't afraid to question her perspective.
Maybe have been open to her.
No, I understand. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
And the abuse continued.
I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
Yeah.
Because women were not invited to that table. Women were not invited to many tables in this nation. The reason we fought and busted our behinds to make sure that you didn't have to worry about this. And now to hear you talk about it and to hear anybody talk about the wokeness was put in place for a reason.
Attacking a woman for her looks or age isn't very progressive.
Karoline Leavitt, an emerging conservative voice, boldly challenged Whoopi's remarks, exposing the contradictions and hypocrisy in the View's stance on wokeness.
And I would just say a strong message who are out there pretending to be outraged about the long list of crap that this administration is cutting, federal waste and funding, like $2 million for sex changes in Guatemala, $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $4.5 million to combat disinformation in Kazakhstan. I could go on, and I'm happy to provide this list to every single one of you.
What began as a simple disagreement quickly spiraled into a heated debate, where Leavitt didn't just defend her point of view, but turned the tables on Whoopi and the panel, forcing them to confront the weaknesses in their own argument.
While I've vowed to provide the truth from this podium, we ask that all of you in this room hold yourselves to that same standard. We know for a fact there have been lies that have been pushed by many legacy media outlets in this country about this president, about his family, and we will not accept that. We will call you out when we feel that your reporting is.
What started as a routine segment on the show rapidly became one of the most intense debates in recent television history. Today, we'll break down what transpired, why it's significant, and how this exchange highlights a growing cultural divide.
Whoopi Goldberg chimed in too, suggesting Leavitt only got her job because of wokeness.
Yeah. I would like this young lady this is her first job, I would like her to do a little homework. Because she said something yesterday that really pissed me off. And that was, she said, there will be no wokeness here.
Oh, yeah.
Let me explain something to you. Because without that wokeness, you might not have that job.
During the discussion on wokeness in modern politics, Whoopi Goldberg passionately defended the concept, claiming that wokeness was crucial for societal progress. According to Whoopi, the movement for diversity, equity, and inclusion had led to positive changes, and those opposing it were simply resisting essential social evolution. She dismissed conservative criticisms of wokeness as fear-driven, and argued that those who challenged the ideology were uncomfortable with progress and afraid of change.
I will say it's very easy to speak truth from this podium when you have a president who is implementing policies that are wildly popular with the American people, and that's exactly what this administration is doing. It's correcting the lies and the wrongs of the past 4 years, many of the lies that have been told to your faces in this very briefing room. I will not do that.
It didn't take long for Karoline Leavitt to step in and challenge Whoopi's position. Instead of simply opposing her, Leavitt deconstructed the very core of Whoopi's argument, revealing contradictions in the View's portrayal of wokeness and the selective application of their so-called inclusive principles.
And I'm so sick and tired of the media pointing the finger at Donald Trump and saying that he is sowing division in this country. He is not. The media is for pushing hoaxes like the one that you all pushed today, and the Democrat Party is for pushing lies about him. But the good news is Americans don't buy it. The sentiment that President Trump is a democracy. And if you're a deranged lunatic and you're mentally ill, you will believe that lie, and yes, you will take political.
Leavitt responded by emphasizing that wokeness had evolved beyond a movement for social progress. It had become a tool to suppress opposing viewpoints. She argued that wokeness, instead of uniting people, had only deepened divisions by enforcing ideological conformity and punishing those brave enough to question its principles. Leavitt cited examples of people from various sectors: media, education, and corporate America, who had lost opportunities simply because their views didn't align with the dominant woke narrative. She also called out the hypocrisy within the Views panel, especially Whoopi, who claims to advocate for open discussions while simultaneously shutting down conservative voices. Leavitt pointed to numerous instances when conservative women were dismissed, interrupted, or insulted on the show, questioning whether the View truly supported diversity of thought or only diversity that fit within their ideological framework. She went further, highlighting how wokeness had been used to justify censorship and exclusion, rather than fostering true inclusivity.
Of the 3,500 arrests ICE has made so far since President Trump came back into office, can you just tell us the numbers? How many have a criminal record versus those who are just in the country illegally?
All of them, because they illegally broke our nation's laws and therefore they are criminals as far as this administration goes. I know the last administration didn't see it that way, so it's a big culture shift in our nation to view someone who breaks our immigration laws as a criminal, but that's exactly what they are. I would like to point out to each and every one of you that in 2024, when Joe Biden was in the Oval Office, or upstairs in the residence sleeping, I'm not so sure, egg prices increased 65% in this country.
Whoopi, clearly frustrated, tried to defend her position by claiming that wokeness was about inclusivity and equal opportunity for all. She argued that conservatives like Leavitt were misrepresenting wokeness as oppressive, when in reality, it was about correcting historical wrongs and promoting fairness in society. However, Leavitt wasn't willing to let that slide. She pressed Whoopi, questioning how attacking conservative women for their beliefs aligned with the concept of inclusivity. She challenged if wokeness was truly about embracing diverse perspectives. Why were conservative women so frequently mocked and belittled? Why were their qualifications doubted, while progressive women were celebrated as role models? Leavitt pointed out that the selective application of wokeness created an unjust double standard, where certain voices were amplified and others silenced. The tension on the set was palpable as Whoopi struggled to regain control of the discussion, attempting to steer the conversation away from Leavitt's critiques. But it was too late. The damage had been done. The audience could see the cracks in the View's argument. Leavitt had clearly made her point, and Whoopi's attempts to change the narrative only highlighted the flaws in her own position. The exchange quickly went viral, with clips circulating across social media. Viewers from all political affiliations chimed in, many agreeing that Whoopi's defense of wokeness had been effectively debunked. Even those who didn't share Leavitt's conservative views admitted that she had raised valid concerns about the inconsistencies in the View's messaging. Critics of the show argued that it had long been a platform for promoting one-sided narratives while silencing opposing voices. This latest incident only reinforced that perception. Instead of facilitating a meaningful discussion, Whoopi and her co-hosts tried to dismiss Leavitt's concerns without truly addressing them, revealing their reluctance to engage in an authentic debate. The backlash was swift, with many people urging the show to reconsider how it engages with guests who have opposing views. However, this wasn't merely about one televised debate, symbolized a wider cultural shift. Wokeness, once viewed as a force for positive societal change, had evolved into something much more divisive. Instead of fostering meaningful discussions, it created an atmosphere where disagreements were met with hostility. People became hesitant to voice their opinions, fearing being labeled intolerant or regressive. Leavitt's exchange with Whoopi reflected a rising frustration among many. Americans who believe that the true definition of progress has been distorted into a call for ideological conformity. The backlash against Whoopi's comments on The View went beyond just the specific debate. It mirrored a much larger national conversation on free speech, inclusivity, and the true meaning of diversity. Many argue that media outlets should be focused on promoting open, balanced discussions rather than perpetuating narrow ideological perspectives. Ultimately, Karoline Leavitt's appearance on The View didn't merely expose flaws in Whoopi Goldberg's defense of wokeness. It ignited a broader discussion about the state of political discourse in America. The question remains, are we truly fostering open discussions, or are we silencing those who dare to think differently? This conversation is far from over, and as more voices challenge the dominant narratives, it's clear that the struggle for ideological balance in the media has only just begun. What do you think? Did Leavitt successfully reveal contradictions in The View's stance on wokeness, or do you believe Whoopi Goldberg's argument had merit? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on the latest political and media controversies.